the demand, we keep being told, even though the market is tough out there. I was reading on my phone this morning that apparently just over 200 construction firms filed for some form of administration in the month of February this year. We're heading into some form of recession where we've arguably been in it for the last 12 to 18 months, and I think it's just kind of the capitulation of that.
Welcome back, everyone, to the HORDE Built Different podcast. Unfortunately, once again, just Alex and I, as we're ramping up. I say unfortunately, it's not really unfortunate, that's probably a bit harsh, but as we're ramping up the episodes, as you might have noticed, because there is a lot going on in the world at the moment, but in our own little sector, there's a lot going on in the property and construction industry, both generally and for us. Alex, welcome back once again.
I think we need to open up today's podcast with, I think, a critical question of what all the listeners, especially the visual audience, is: have you invested in a lint roller yet for that gilet?
Well, I don't need a lint roller. Can you see the hair coming off it?
A little bit furry, mate. A little bit furry.
It's just come out of the washing machine. I think that might be why. It's actually, I think I might have broken a rule because, oh no, my car said 20 degrees earlier, which is when the gilet comes off, but its phone says 15, so I'll have to stay on for now.
So you got away with it. Well done. I suppose when you're in a pub garden in about a couple of hours' time, mate, sipping a cold lager, you probably will come off.
Yeah, a bit of jacket on, gilet off.
That's it. But yeah, no. Hi everyone. Good to be here again. It's 4:00 on a Friday here, so we're putting in the graveyard shift to make sure everyone gets a good another episode this week. So yeah, how's things been going, Ollie? You've had a stressful afternoon, I understand.
Yes, I've been putting the gilet in its natural habitat, put it that way.
Fine.
And been catching up with a. Won't name drop in case they didn't know, in case they were meant to be in the office this afternoon. But, catching up over a round of clay shooting, which was a nice way to do some networking. And despite having not taken picked up a gun for a few months, I was quite impressed with. I was shooting pretty straight, so quite happy. Same can't be said about the person I was with, but. Hey.
Jesus, was he holding it at his waist? That's probably where he was going wrong.
It was. What's that guy's?
Del Boy.
Del Boy, yeah. Del Boy-esque. Yeah, no, it's a nice way. It's I mean, paddle's a new networking thing. I see people now going for dog walks for networking. So yeah, why not? Why not a bit of clay shooting?
Nice.
Nothing like knowing whether it's good to do business with someone, whether to see how angry they are with missing a load of clays when they've got a shotgun in their hand. So
true, yeah. And how they react to the to getting beaten by you and your gilet. Well, to be fair, I'd love it if they did actually beat you, because you rock up in the gilet, probably cap on, your own shotgun in its own bag, and I'm just like, oh, this guy needs to be taken down.
Yeah, it's like the golfer turning up with like the full golfing kit. So, but no, I think I won that one. So yeah,
good. Well done, mate.
Take small wins where they are. What's your day been? I think you've been.
I was up at Esher for 7 a.m. this morning. 7 a.m, mate. Oh. Signing off the brick bond and the mortar colour. So we just finished
the answer is
we're going for the darker of the two options. Basically, we did a sample panel on site a few months back.
You didn't get your hands dirty, did you?
No, mate, no. When I say we, the proverbial we, the bricklayer did a sample site on site a few months ago, which was like a really light white, almost like an off-white mortar. But I just think with the window colours and the fascias and the soffits and everything being quite light anyway, it's just going to be too much. And so we've gone from a much more like natural sandy coloured mortar, which goes really well with the brick.
Do you reckon the CEO of Vistry Group was on one of their sites at 7 a.m. this morning?
Probably, mate. Probably. It's these little details that make it pop, And we've also gone for a Flemish bond. Now, do you know what a Flemish bond is?
No, I don't. I have heard someone. That's the second time I've heard the phrase Flemish bond this week, though. I don't know what it is, but I do like how it sounds. So I would choose that over a traditional bond.
Stretcher bond. So stretcher bond is where you get all it's just brick, basically just like the length of the brick.
Oh.
Flemish bond is where you get a stretcher, then a header. So you snap the brick and put half of it. So you've got big brick, small brick, big brick, small brick.
Yeah.
Flemish bond's much more like a nicer, detailed bond. So we've gone with that.
Does that not just use 50% more bricks, though? No,
you probably get a bit more. You do get a bit more wastage and a bit more time, but obviously, because if you're snapping it in half, you can reuse the other half of the bricks.
Yeah,
but it's just a time on site. It's a time on site cutting it, and you will get a bit of wastage from breakage. But it's it's just much more a nicer bond, and just adds a bit of feature to the sort of where you've got a big elevation to brickwork. It adds a bit of a feature to those. So we're doing most of the plots, the detached plots, in the Flemish bond, and obviously the first homes and the semis will still be in stretcher. But that's a nice touch. So I was up there doing that. Had a nice coffee in the site office, catching up with the bricklayer who was giving me all sorts of details on the actually. Do you know what he said? I've never heard a subby being so complimentary of our design team, saying that the design here has really been thought about, and the plans have actually been, obviously the setting out and the plans have actually been laid out properly for the bond and the brickwork coursings. So it barely ever happened, so it's a really good job on this one. So no, it's good. They've really cracked on up there.
When I was up there just before Christmas, I couldn't believe how clean the toilets were.
You sound so middle class, mate, saying that.
I mean, generally, expectation of a site toilet is...
Yeah, the site manager, good old Pete Bailey up there, he runs a pretty tight ship, actually. So it's always pretty spick and span, which is good. So we're all substructure brickwork's done, up to damp now on all the plots. And drainage in the plots is going in next week. Floors being delivered the week after. Then we've got probably about 6 to 8 weeks on brickwork up to the first second lifts. So yeah, mate, we're motoring on now. So
feeling pretty real.
So it's all going to start getting real. So we've got to move the hoarding up, get the branding on site, agreed on all the branding, get that, because obviously we're accelerating the plot one, which is like the detached house at the start of the site, so off the road. So you really want that one to go up first, gauge a bit of attention, get the hoarding up. So it's all gonna happen thick and fast now, which is really exciting. So yeah, that's all very good. Then what else has happened today? Then I was down to Porchester to a site meeting. Actually got told off for walking on a roof today, actually, by a facilities manager. So I had to explain to him that we were doing it safely in accordance with our RAMs, but he still wouldn't let us go up there. So that was quite a nice Friday afternoon engagement. And had a call with a landowner that we're trying to secure our next development deal on, get the heads of terms agreed, and I think we're almost there. So we hopefully will have some very, very good news to share very shortly around our next development site, and it's a big one.
I'm sure the listeners will be ecstatically waiting to know whether it's going to be Flemish bond or I can't remember what the other one you said was now. Flemish or
stretcher. English. Come on, mate. You should know all these. You should know all these bonds.
I'm learning.
So yeah, so that's that one's quite exciting. That's not sort of 19 mil GDV, big new build scheme in Surrey. So we're very close on that, which is very, very good.
Watch the
quite
space.
Punchy. Yeah, watch the space. So yeah, while you've been shooting some clay discs out the air, mate, some of us have been grafting.
You know, mate, these things got to be done, haven't they? Got to be done. Got to be done. So yeah, no, development sounds that sounds good. Sounds like it's moving. I imagine we probably won't be long off. I mean, I know we've got with Isha, we've already had a sort of a long list of people that are keen to come and look at it as soon as possible. But what's the exit strategy with that, I mean, when are you looking at agents or in-house or
Or with Isha.
yeah?
Yeah, so we definitely engage with an external agent. Obviously, we've met with a couple and we got some pretty encouraging GDVs back from a couple of local agents, and I think the feedback we've been given is that because look, essentially we're 6 houses, 3 first homes flats, and given the area, you're right opposite in demand through school. You're on a busy, well, not busy, but like a road which gets a lot of walkers and local residents walking down it, like Connectivity Road. You're 5 minutes, 10 minutes walk into Isha. So the demand, we keep being told, even though the market is tough out there, but we're being told that they will potentially sell really well and sell strong, and the GDVs we're getting are good. So we just need to make sure really that the product is right now. And I think that look, it's quite a nice time now where we've got probably 2 to 3 months while the superstructure's going up to really hone in on the interiors. Obviously, we've got the interior design intent done. We've got the kind of loose kind of visuals done, but we just need to hone in now and make sure that we're not cutting any corners and just making sure that it is the type of product we're going to deliver that's going to get the attention and get the price we want for them. I think that the issue, I suppose, the only slight thing with the site is that it's because it's kind of like an L-shaped site and it's quite narrow and you've got a roadway through all the way. The external space is quite small, so like the gardens are not small, but they're kind of like not huge for that kind of house.
Kind of house square foot to garden square foot is on the smaller side of.
Yeah, so we just need to make sure that the value that they're potentially losing in the garden is regained in the rest of what they're going to get at in the house. So I'm just conscious of that's probably where we're going to really have to hone in on that. And yeah, but no, it's really nice up there. To be fair, really happy with that one.
Nice. I mean, from my own experience, having a garden in mine at the moment is 50% weeds and bindweed and anything that just takes up a load of time. So
yeah, and we have the
garden and low key, but what do you want? You want a nice area you can sit. You want to have like, a decent bit of privacy. That when I see people now, which I think is really good on like new builds, is like traditionally with any garden, you end up with obviously like your 6-foot panel board and fencing, which you need from a like privacy and security point of view. But now people are planting these like trees where, I mean, they're not trees, they're more like hedging, but it's kind of stems, so it doesn't take too much space up of the garden, but then it adds probably another 2 meters of like privacy screening, but it's done in like a sort of hedging tree style. It looks really smart. Some people don't.
Well, we were having, funnily enough, we were having this debate on site earlier around what we should do with the boundaries, whether they should fence them. I was saying, well, look, should we even consider doing like a brick wall? Because like if you're buying a 1.3, 1.4 million pound house, having a brick wall there or some form of boundary wall, even if it's small, low level brick with pillars or something. So we're just going to have to weigh that up as well. Obviously, that does kind of have planning implications a little bit. But then we were sat there going through the fencing catalogue or the online, and there are actually some really nice kind of fence options you can get now.
The like cedar panelled ones always look really nice. Our garden on one side, we've got like low sort of waist height brick wall and then half fence, and that looks quite smart as well. Just like break it up rather than just a straight line of wood, which looks quite
6-foot
nice
panel from B&Q for a £5. Yeah, it's probably not going to cut the mustard, is it?
And really wonky fence posts that was put in by the developer. So one of our fence looks like it was done after they'd been for a little Friday lunch.
Go on, who's the developer? Name and shame.
Linden Homes. I wouldn't name and shame them actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
Okay. One of the big ones.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like some of it's good, and it was a subcontractor that obviously put the fencing in, but the whole fence on one side is just completely pissed. Just 1 minute's like that, and then it just goes. But joys of new housing, hey.
Exactly.
To be fair, credit where credit's due. It's 8 years in, it's still standing. So, yeah. 8 years today, actually. Weird. There you go.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. Got 2 years left on your new build warranty, mate.
Yeah,
before it falls down.
Get a snagging survey done.
Good.
Anyhow, I guess on the note of sort of big builders and so on. There's some interesting news this week about Unite. Don't know if you want to touch a bit on that in terms of obviously they discussed about accelerating their disposal plans and looking at selling sort of 300 to 400 million pounds worth of their portfolio off.
Yeah, I think it's just interesting in the PBSA sector is obviously look that's one of the areas which has probably been quite heavily affected by Building Safety Act. I know we go on about it every week, but the Building Safety Act and the gateways, fire safety, obviously has probably affected deliverability of those schemes quite heavily. But I think also the student market is like, it's becoming very, with bill costs going up and the kind of rental yield appetite for value in terms of how they're valued. I think that you have to be getting premium rents.
And your OPEX costs of running blocks like that
exactly.
has spiraled massively. It's like, you think utility costs now, like we all know how it feels living in our humble abodes, sort of in terms of utility costs, but you think you're running a building where you've got, I don't know, 250 beds, so I don't know, say they're on average 250 a square foot each plus communal space or something, and you've then got the lifestyle design of a student who, in my experience, having spent 8 years in the student market, of temperature control was typically done by having the heating on max, and then in order to cool the room down a bit, you'd open the windows, which isn't the most energy efficient way of running a property. I'm sure everyone knows that, but yeah, having your heating on 30 degrees and then cooling it down by opening the window, which is going to affect the OPEX cost, plus then all the other costs that go with running a business. I know we have a bit of a habit of moaning about the challenges of running businesses, but ultimately Unite is a business still that's affected by all the same challenges that every business is, plus, and they've got the challenge of maybe rents that aren't going up as much as they were before, the international market not being as strong as it once was, maybe for students, with the UK being not as desirable to come to, and things like Brexit and travel being a bit harder. So it's yeah.
Well, I imagine they've looked at it and they're probably thinking, oh, we're only kind of making good returns or money on probably percentage of our stock. The other percentage of it is data. I mean, look, Unite are probably the biggest. I don't know the stats, but one of the biggest in the UK, if not the biggest. And they're not known for being a luxury high-end brand option. Unite, they are kind of like middle of the road, sort of low end of the road. I would have thought most of their stuff.
More spit and sawdust of the PBSA sector.
Yeah, whereas most the PBSA schemes I've personally been involved with over the last 7 to 8 years have all been for quite premium products, and I think that that's the model that I'm familiar with. Is that if you get it in a good area, in like a medium-sized amount of beds, like 60 to 100, if not a few more, mostly studio layouts with good amenities, and you're getting, like you say, a good overseas student demographic, then that it's quite a good model. And it's an effective development model. But if you're the bottom end of that, where you're probably getting UK students which want cluster flats, which are rents of half or much lower rate, it's trickier. So I imagine they're looking at kind of repurposing and focusing on those areas where they think there's demand for rents to increase.
Interesting to see that. We're at a time that my prediction would be sort of more people investing money into that sort of thing. It was interesting to see that coming out this week. So, but
yeah,
watch this space a bit, I guess, on it. I'm sure there'll be more to come, more twists and turns.
Well, talking of twists and turns, I think obviously I hate giving negative news in this. I just feel like every month it's just like you're sharing news which is negative and it's scaremongering, but unfortunately, majority of the news is negative these days. I was reading on my phone this morning that apparently just over 200 construction firms filed for some form of administration in the month of February this year. And I think that's quite a scary number, given that, look, there's probably, I think, doing a bit of research earlier, there's around 300 just under 350,000 construction firms in the UK. Majority of them, obviously, the majority of them are like one-man bands, small micro subcontractors. So you've probably got well under half of that are proper main contractors, like large main contracting businesses. But to know that 300 a month, if you times that up, say on average, a year, you're 3,000 a year.
Losing 1% a year.
Your 1% of the market is going into administration every year.
What's the doing? It's not. We don't just talk about it because it's our sector. The biggest, I think, when I've looked at the biggest stats of companies in general going into administration every month are construction businesses. Like, I mean, if there's an answer, then it would stop. But why is construction just so badly hit at the moment?
Well, construction generally, I mean, the business model of a construction company essentially is look, it's reasonably big numbers that come in and out of it. So it's a fully cash flow management is like the key. And obviously, if you're a small micro or subcontractor trade business, you're probably second, third down the line from getting paid from the client. So end client to the main contractor to the main subcontractor, then to the subcontractor. You can even be a fourth, fifth on that. You know what I mean? If you're a real specialist. So your payment chain for getting paid is sometimes four or five parties detached from you in terms of a contract subcontracts. And it only takes if the person at top gets hit, he's either going to take the hit and go down, and he's going to take loads of people with him, or her, or essentially they're going to fight back and try and claim and counterclaim and delay payment to minimise their position. And I think that where obviously in that instance as well, I mean, look, construction contracts are probably 12 months, 24 months, 36 months, depending on size of contract, and you're on a fixed price contract at the start of that. And where you see all this news about inflation and bill cost increases, material cost increases, a contractor was moaning to me earlier this week about, including my dad actually, he was moaning about me. All the merchants are emailing him saying, oh, they're putting their prices up because of the Iran war, the oil prices, etc. But you can't claim that back because you're under a fixed price JCT contract. So it's like, how do you, there's no price fluctuation. It's not on demand pricing. It's like you're locked into a price. So obviously you get hit by that inflation. So I think it's just a mixture of those things. And I think also probably order books. I think there's probably a lot of availability for workforces at the moment. I think a lot of schemes are getting delayed or postponed, planning delays or viability delays. Not many people are wanting to really build, so I think you're probably getting a slight lack of demand. So the smaller contractors that are relying on one main contractor to feed them all that work probably don't have the pot of work to give them, so they're struggling. So I think it's just a perfect storm, isn't it? Look, we're heading into some form of recession where we've arguably been in it for the last 12 to 18 months, and I think it's just kind of the capitulation of that. But interestingly, leading on from that is that one thing that I'm quite positive about
party popper.
There we go. A medium term, I suppose, because I don't think it's going to happen quickly. But obviously, there was news about a month ago now, actually. But just reading an article on it, a follow-up article on it, is that there's been an inquiry into consultation is the right word. Consultation into construction retentions on retention contracts being banned completely. And obviously, just explain to me. Explain to me what a construction retention is.
Construction retention, Mr. Hearn, is when a contractor finishes a job, the client holds back a agreed proportion of funds for a period of time, and then for an agreed period of time, and for any defects that come up, typically, I believe, and I'm happy to stand to be corrected here, that's about a year, and then the final balance is paid after a year.
Bloody hell, did you read off ChatGPT?
No, that's That's just knowledge, mate. Just knowledge.
So you are right. It's not bad. It's not bad.
Typically 10% as well, isn't it?
5%.
5%.
Well,
Which,
2.5 post. 5% to PC, 2.5 given, 2.5 release at PC, 2.5 carried for usually 12 months. But so on D&B, it's usually 3%. So it does vary a little bit. But yeah, you're in the right ballpark, mate. You're in the right ballpark. But I think what they in the consultation they were saying is that it's causing a lot of that issue itself of retentions not being paid or forgotten or delayed is causing a lot of the administration and liquidation matters. Because if you because being as a surveyor, look, as us as surveyors and CAs and PMs, etc., contract administrators and project managers, is that a lot of the time you have to remember that oh bloody hell, we finished that 12 months ago. We better sign the defect retention off. And sometimes, obviously, we have a calendar and we try and track it. But sometimes, obviously, some things get missed or delayed, and then you have an email from the contractor saying, "Oh bloody hell, my retention's due. Can we arrange an inspection?" So I can see how it does affect. And I think, look, if you're talking of £2-3 million contract, carrying that much money out of your cash flow as a business, and if you're doing quite a lot, if you're doing 10, 12 schemes a year as a medium-sized contractor, it's a large chunk of money.
And it's 2.5% they're holding back, plus then with inflation the way it is, so actually it's more like 5%.
Yeah.
So you then add on that your money's worth less in a year's time than it was.
Exactly.
So that the consultation is what, to scrap that altogether, or to
scrap retentions completely? Yeah. So there'd be no retentions held under a contract.
So sat here as the impartial people we are, that's obviously very positive for a construction company. But Mr. and Mrs. Smith, who have got a main contractor in to build them a beautiful new house in the leafy suburbs of Surrey, and contractor gets paid at the end, and then 6 months down the line the place starts having issues. That's not so. I'm doing what we're trying to avoid, where I'm turning what you just started as a positive into a negative. But how do you see that sort of playing out, and how can people potentially protect themselves with this upcoming change?
Well, I think a lot of it's going to come down to managing the quality, isn't it? Because essentially, sometimes how you look at it, especially if you're getting to the end of a project as a contract administrator, is like you're getting to the end of the project, you're 2 or 3 months out, there's probably you're looking at the work, walking around thinking there's probably like 150 grand, 200 grand left. Oh, but we've still got the retention pot as well, so you've kind of got that to release down. So I think you'll just be, it would kind of make contract a bit more aware of the quality and the program, and just making sure that they're sort of progressing well to the end, because otherwise there won't be a pot of money that can be leveraged at the end on final account. That would be the tricky thing, because I think you'll generally want to hold back more money because you haven't got a retention pot to sort of play with or negotiate with at the end. So you're going to hold back more money, and it's going to motivate them to finish better. But obviously your question was around latent defects, I suppose, like defects after the defect period. I think there will still be, you're still going to have your forms of insurances in place. Performance bonds might get a bit more popular.
What's the performance bond for the listeners that might not know / me?
Where you put a portion of the contract sum into like
escrow or something.
An escrow, like an insurance bond, basically, where it can basically be if they don't perform around the contractual parameters, that's it's released back to the client. But I don't think they're ever going to come into play on smaller schemes. But on bigger schemes, I can see them. If this does come into play, that would be a much bigger play. But I think generally there's still going to be some form of agreement. I mean, look, if you're a builder and you've got to PC, but you're not wrapping up the defects, just that money will just be held. It will just be held off the final account. There just won't be a retention pot. You'll just say, well, you haven't finished the work, so we're gonna hold that money.
So the moral of the story is get yourself a really good project manager and contract administrator.
Well, yeah, and that, but I still think you'll still have a defect period. So the contract will still be a 12-month defect period. So the contractor still has to rectify any defects that occur, but there just won't be a monetary sum held against it. Yeah, so they'll still be in breach. They'll still be in breach of contract if they don't come and
real life
rectify.
is the motivation of getting a contractor back if there's money on the line versus not.
Yeah.
But let's keep it as a positive. It's a good thing for the construction industry.
Yeah. Well, mate, burst the bubble with a pin there, Jesus. But interesting. The other interesting thing on this article is that as part of this announcement, there was a wider statement that around there's going to be a payment reform. So for larger firms, we'll have to face a maximum 60-day payment term when paying suppliers. With 60 days, you think, Jesus, bloody hell. Like, you wouldn't think anyone would agree to more than 60 days. But there are some people out there that are 90 days, the big tier ones, have got to go through the machine. But that's quite encouraging. And it says all commercial contracts will also be required to include statutory interest on late payments set at 8% above base rate.
If you're late, you're currently paying 11.75%.
You got that maths right. Well done.
It's amazing what you can do when you get ChatGPT.
So that's quite punchy if you think about it. It's quite punchy.
And who actually polices that?
I don't know, mate. It's just a consultation at the moment, so it hasn't actually come into force. But I imagine how these things will get wrapped up is that this will come, this will be waved into motion via an act or something, and then obviously all the contract suites will amend. JC 2028 or 2027 will come out, and it will all be wrapped up in that as an addendum to the Construction Act. But yeah, so it's they're obviously starting to realise that insolvencies or these kind of things need to be dealt with because there's some pretty significant changes there. But I think all for the better, really. What would be interesting to see, actually, in the current state with what's going on, is that remembering when, like, COVID came in and there was live construction contracts, there was a big thing around the force majeure clauses in the contract and how that would be dealt with, and potential for like loss and expense or price increase, etc., from contractors due to like changing trading circumstances where inflation hit and all building materials was high. I wonder if that will come. It'd be interesting to see if some case law establishes itself around the whole Iran war impact with oil prices, because I imagine there are some big contracts or contracts that are going to straddle this, which are going to be hit with quite significant inflation.
Most insurance wars you don't get paid out for, do you?
Insurance?
Yeah. So you're just saying?
Well, I was saying the force majeure clause in the contract. Yeah. But there is a force majeure clause in the JCT contract. It'd just be interesting to see if there are any cases in the next next 6 months, I suppose, around it.
My planning thing actually was quite localised, and it was very interesting, but maybe only really if you live in our area and travel to Southwest a lot. But it was about the Stonehenge tunnel.
Go on, enlighten me.
Well, it's been officially revoked, the application, so you must have driven past Stonehenge.
Well, they were going to put a tunnel underneath it.
You've not heard about? Oh, wait, you've been under a rock. This has been... I mean, if you drive down the 303...
Literally under a rock, Stonehenge.
Pardon the pun. You can spend 50% of your journey sat on that part because of the traffic, and they had put a proposal forward to put a tunnel in, but the application, after a lot of feedback, like these things, this has been going on for 20 years or something, has officially been revoked. So not very housing topical, but quite a big milestone in the planning world. Yeah, apart from that, I mean, there's been some changes. The policy document came out about B&G changes, so any site under 0.2 hectares no longer will have a B&G requirement, which I think they were discussing. I saw some guys on LinkedIn put some stuff up, a developer earlier, old mate of mine, who said, well, that's most sites is something like one house, so it's not going to make much difference. I think their original proposal was that SME house builders 0.2 hectares should be something like 7 to 8 houses, but realistically, do you know how many hectares Esher is? Or
Hectares.
acres if you're a bit more old school.
2 acres.
2 acres, so it's 2.5 acres to a hectare, so all the other way around. No, acres smaller than hectare.
Yeah, yeah, I know that.
So it'd be about half to 0.6 of a hectare probably. So even that wouldn't apply, and that's a tight site with 6 houses on and a block of 3 flats, isn't it? So but I mean, that's been a big thing that they kind of lobbied for quite a while because, I mean, Christ, especially down south, us poor developers have had a pretty tough time when it comes to new environmental challenges when it comes to planning with nitrates, phosphates, and then BNG. But I think the idea was that they were trying to speed it all up a bit. But I think 0.2 hectares has become as a bit of a kick in the teeth for the developer side. ESHA predated BNG, didn't it? So
yeah, we didn't have any BNG costs on that. We've had a load of eco stuff on that. Though. I was looking at the site plan again earlier when I was looking at the fence issue I was talking about earlier, and we've got hedgehog tunnels on there.
Yeah, I like hedgehog. I'm a big advocate for the hedgehog.
Bat boxes in the houses.
Bats. I'm not going to get onto bats.
And we've got reptile fencing as well.
Nice. Yeah. But I think I've got a hedgehog highway hole in my fence.
Hedgehog highway. That was it. Yeah, hedgehog highway. Yeah, so we've got to put them in. I was like, bloody hell, what the hell is that? And then they were showing me. I was like, geez.
Do you know what they actually do? Those hedgehog highways.
What?
They actually just become rat runs.
Oh, perfect.
They literally. Yeah. I mean, a hedgehog in your garden's a lovely thing, but they just. I mean, there's rats everywhere in it, but the idea that it's lovely that the hedgehogs use them, but actually they just end up being used by rats. So
nice. So no, that was quite interesting. I think that we should have our planning approval in for Section 73 next week, so we can start taking the TPO out and take a few other trees out before scaffolding goes down. So we'll go.
All action stations. It's good we're doing these weekly updates now because so much going on.
That's it, mate.
I'm not sure Friday afternoon at 4:00's giving optimum viewer.
I can tell, mate. You keep texting your mates on your phone about what time you get into the pub.
Looking at planning. and what force majeure meant.
Oh, God.
Well, no, that was good little short, sharp episode. I think we've covered off some useful bits and some interesting topics discussed, and I think things that all they're kind of recurring topics. They're not just instant news bites. So we'll keep tabs on them and review back to them. So, but yeah, Alex, mate, enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the. Don't sit in that office for too long. You're in the budding area of Ocean Village, by the water, seagulls singing, and Guinness cooling.
Mate, the clocks have gone back now. You can't have a Guinness.
Oh,
well, no, forward. Yeah, when the clocks go forward, you can't be drinking Guinness anymore.
Base rate and knowing which way the clocks have gone.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, nice one. Thanks everyone for listening. Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you next week.
See you later.